and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Ormark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today we are going to look at the beautiful Butterfly Beauty Thinlits and Beauty Abounds. It sort of coordinates together because they some of the pieces go together, but what I thought I would show you is Beauty Abounds. We're just going to use this little splattery piece down here. And we could use one of the sentiments. I've actually used one from something else, but the hello would work perfectly from this. So that's what we're using from this stamp set. And then the dies, these dies are absolutely incredible. There are so many of them that it's quite easy to forget about some and not use them all. If I go through on, you have two beautiful butterflies here, which are, as you can see, they are complete. That is an outside piece. So you can do that in one colour. You can then die cut this one as well. And this one goes inside this one like that. So you basically get two colour tones to go together. You can use them separately, you can use them together. For this one, I've actually used some of these together, just on their own. And you then have some lovely little ones down at the bottom here. Now, these will cut out tiny, weeny little butterflies, so perfect for your scraps. And then on this one, again, you've got some more of these tiny little ones. So you can cut a whole pile out at the same time. You've got 4 of these sort of butterflies that are landing on things, 2 different patterns. And you've got 4 of these, again, 2 different patterns. You've got these ones, which are the outsides of the Beauty Abounds, so they will cut those 2 butterflies out perfectly. And then you've got a couple of beautiful flourishes. So there is so much to use with these dies, and as I've always said, I try and use everything, and my motto is always waste not, want not. So now that I've shown you the complete collection, I shall show you what we're going to do today, and let me just put them back in the case so I don't lose them. I have taken the lovely, which is one of my absolute favourite papers at the moment, which is called See a Silhouette. So let me just show you on this one. Beautiful, summery, bright colours. It uses See a Silhouette, Blackberry Bliss, Crushed Curry, Daffodil Delight, Flirty Flamingo, Mango Melody, Mossy Meadow, Night of Navy, Old Olive, Pacific Point, Poppy Parade, Real Red, Rich Raspberry, Whisper White. So basically almost the complete palette tones of your nice bright colours for something summery and pretty. The lovely thing is that all our papers are double-sided, so you've got this gorgeous blue on the back, and you've got these lovely sort of swirls, which could be oceans or whatever you want. Rather nice sort of spritz sort of colours on there, so they're nice and muted. And as I say, this side, lovely sort of washes, so you can take the pales or the darks, night skies and things. Oh, just so many. Anyway, what I have done is I have cut this one down, so just out of one sheet, to show you my my waste not, want not. So I'm just going to take a piece of paper to show you what I've done out of this, and to show you how you can make cards without wasting a single thing. So I have this tiny strip here, which I will use for something later on. And I've got this piece here again, which I'll use for something later on. I have taken, this is a tiny scrap of Night of Navy, which I have cut 2 things out of. Again, I will use those for later on. But this is the piece that I wanted to show you, how you can cut so much out of one piece. So this here is one piece of the DSP, and it was just cut in a strip that would fit the dies. So if let me turn it around this way, then you can see how the die would have gone. So I have cut this die out, and then I've cut them into separate pieces. So you have got one which I can do one card with. You have got this one which goes down there. That will make another card. This one here is this one on here. That will make another card. So that's 3. This one here is number 4, which went there. And this one here is number 5, like that. Okay, so you can get one complete, because it all comes together. You can get one complete card, or you can just snip them off and you've got 5 separate pieces that will make 5 separate cards. Now, you can see all of these little spaces that were left over. What I did was I took those small ones which I was talking to you about, and these ones here, I have cut out of these. We have got 1, 2, so the 4 different sort of shapes of these ones, 3 and 4, like that. And then the 4 of these little ones, because again, I just put all the dies on at the same time, so it was only one pass. So you've got 4 of these, and again, you can see there are 2 different, slightly different shapes. I will hold them up for you. And then I cut this piece out of a piece of Night of Navy, and the other piece that we're going to use. But you can see how I can still get some little tiny butterflies out of these corner pieces, and I'm wasting absolutely nothing. So it's very much my motto, as I say, don't just cut one thing out of it, throw the rest away. Use these tiny little pieces around here and use as much of it as you possibly can. When you get to put it into the actual trash, you will have virtually nothing left. I can still, as I say, cut a few little pieces out of here. So this is my waste not, want not. I try not to waste anything and trying to use as much as I can. So I'm just going to put this out at the side because we're going to use some of the tiny weeny little pieces. We're not using any of these ones today because they will go on something else, which I probably do later on in the week. But we are going to use these tiny weeny, let me bring them out, these tiny weeny little butterflies here. Now these came from, I will just get them out quickly again, because some of these dies, they're easy to miss and we don't always use all of the ones that we could do. So it's these little ones down here. There's 1, 2, 3. Let me do it on this side. Okay, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12 of them. They would make fantastic corners, which I think is what they're designed for. But the little butterflies themselves can be cut out of the tiniest little scrap that you can imagine. Okay, so now I've explained to you about all this waste not, want not. Let's go on and make the card. So what we are going to use is, let's move these pieces out of the way for a minute, a standard card base. So whatever your standard card base is in whatever country, a piece of Night of Navy, and that is going to be 1/4 of an inch smaller. So wherever you are, just measure it 1/4 of an inch smaller, and then a white piece to go in the centre. So that'll give our little mat, which is 1/4 of an inch smaller. So you've got 1/4 of an inch mats running right the way around on there. Now we're going to take this piece to start off with, and we want to do something just a little bit exciting round the sides. So I'm going to take this little speckledy piece, and we're going to take the Night of Navy. And what we need to do is, we don't want it full strength on there. So I am going to stamp it and stamp it off. So stamp it off once, and then we're going to just stamp it in on the corner. And we're just going to work our way round. There's no real rhyme or reason for this. You can turn it round a bit as you want, if you want to. We're just doing it at the corners, just to give a little bit of interest right in the corner. So stamp it off, and then stamp it along, stamp it off, and then stamp it along. Just work it down. You can have it as much over the edge as you want, or just a little bit. Again, it is just going to, we don't need to take it right down to the bottom, because we're actually going to do something with the bottom. So okay, let me just turn this piece of paper over a bit so we haven't got too many speckledy bits coming on there. So that's just given us a little bit of texture on the back. Now we are going to take our, let's take our base, and we're going to take this in on here. So I don't need to, I'm just working out whether I need to put anything else on there to start off with. Yes, I probably do. Okay, so on this one, we have got, now I have taken a tiny scrap of, and it literally just came off the edge of when I'm cutting my bases down. So just a tiny little piece, and that is going to be the width of your card. So that is, it's only about 1 inch. And then again, a tiny piece of the designer series paper. And rather than putting it this way round, I'm turning it to put it this way. So we're going to have that down at the bottom, which will just add a little bit of texture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this piece on first, because I want to add some ribbon on there. There is the most gorgeous ribbon, which is, it's just beautiful, fine sort of lace. And I really love it. I think just a little bit of lace sometimes just adds something really beautiful. So again, this little strip is only, oh, I don't know, 1.5 inches, 2 inches. It's whatever you've got left at the bottom. Now I've cut it so that it is exactly the width of my card, which happens to be 3.5 inches in the UK, but whatever your width is, do it like that. Now I want to have another piece of lace coming through at the bottom here. So what I need to do is to make sure that this is going to come to there. So I want this right. Okay, so we need to have this running right the way along the top. Now, because it's quite fine lace, it's very easy to glue on. So all I'm going to do is to just run a little line of wet glue just along the top here. And then take the lace, and I've made it just a little bit wider, because what I want to do is to just put it up so it goes on the edge here. Now you can see it, as you put it down, it does start to bend a little bit, but with the wet glue you can just ease it up so you get it sort of nice and straight. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap that piece round. It's very fine, so it's not going to add any actual bulk to the card. So I'm just going to put a little bit of wet glue on the back of there, just for the moment, so it can put it on there. This is why I don't put all my bases and things on to start off with, because it's very easy to glue it all down and think, oh, I forgot to put the ribbon on. So by doing it this way, it's a little bit easier. Now with wet glue, it does take a second to dry, so you just have to just sort of keep just pressing it down for a minute, and without getting it all over your fingers. You can run it down with tape if you want to. I just literally, as I say, want it to just come over the side. There we go, like that. Okay, so that is the little piece of ribbon there. And then I want to put this piece in over the top so that it comes, and you've got 2 little pieces of ribbon coming through, because I think that that balanced it quite nicely. So I'm just going to put some wet glue straight over the top. I'm not putting dimensionals on. This ribbon is so fine that it doesn't add too much bulk. If you're doing normal ribbon, you would have to either cut it completely straight, or you're going to have to put some dimensionals on. sorry, I always go quiet when I'm trying to stick things down because I want to make sure that I've got it exactly at the height that I want. So we can just put that down on there, and we've then got these nice 2 little pieces of lace down here at the bottom, which is quite nice. If you didn't put the lace on, you could actually emboss your wording on there. Now I've just cut out a little tiny hello, so I'm just going to do that. I've just done it with a little sort of flag on the end, and that's going to sit just down here at the bottom. And again, I'm not putting any dimensionals on this one. If you are posting things, you have to be a little bit careful with the amount of embellishments and height that you add to it. Particularly here in the UK, they measure things through a little tiny hole, and if it doesn't fit through that little hole, then you have to pay more for it. So I'm just putting that on there. I want those little points to just go in on there. So we're going to put that in like that. And then on this little end, to just cover it up, I'm going to take one of these tiny little butterflies. So I'm going to put just one of those butterflies just in on that corner. Like that. Yes, that's perfect. Okay, so with these, because they're very tiny, all I need to do is just put a little blob of glue on here. And then I can put this in, and I'm going to take the Take Your Pick tool, which is absolutely perfect, and because I've got it on my finger, because I've got a little bit of glue on there, I can just take it and then ease it at the angle. I want it just at a slight angle, so it then works on there. Okay, and I love the fact that you get the different tones of colours running through. Okay, so now we're going to take this tiny little piece that we did, and this is going to go right up on the centre like this. So again, I use wet glue for everything, so just run your wet glue down there. Just make sure you get it right on the corners. Now you can use our stick it sheets, which are double-sided sheets that you can die cut everything out on, which are very good. I don't have a lot of patience with things, so says me having patience doing this, but I find it's quicker for me to do it this way. It just works quite well, and it's fairly easy to do. You just need to make sure you've got a little blob on there. Now, because I want this stem to be quite long, I'm not doing it so it tucks in, and I want this to come right to the top. So I'm just going to put it right down to the bottom and then put that so it just comes up at an angle, and then stick it down. So again, you've got those lovely sort of colour tones coming through. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dot the butterflies about. So the best way I find is that you put a blob of glue down first of all. So how many have I got? I think I should probably have about 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, 11. So I can put 11 blobs of glue. So let's have one fairly high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's start with 9 and then see where we're going to put the other ones. Now, on the bottom of the Take Your Pick tool is this lovely sort of gunky stuff. It's a bit like putty. And it what I tend to do is, because it sort of does poke out quite a bit, I just sort of squash it onto the point a little bit, because then it gives it a nice sort of rounded point for me. And then you can pick up your butterflies quite easily. Let me put them in on here so you can see them. I'm going to turn them over first, because I want them to come up the right way. And then we are going to, let's start at the top. So, whoops. Actually, I'm going to turn it round that way. There we go. As I said, I always tend to do things pretty cat-handed, so let's take that down like that, take it up, and then we can just press it down with the other side. So that's one. They're different colours, so I'm going to try and, because obviously it's from the designer series paper, so I am going to try and do them. Let's put that one in there. I'm going to try and do them at different angles so that they look as if they're butterflies sort of landing down on this little sort of plant. And that's why I'm doing them sort of different ways as I'm going down, rather than working systematically, because sometimes you find you get them just a little bit sort of cockeyed. That should work down on there. Press that one. There's a little paler one, so let's take him out at that angle, and that's why, as I say, I quite like building it up one at a time, going sort of up and down, because you can then see where you want your sort of spaces to come. Have that one fairly, whoops, that one fairly near down on there. Press that one in, and we'll take one right up on the top there, and we'll take this one over at this angle, so it's flying out like that. Okay, so now how many have we got left? I've got 3. So where have I got spaces and things that I want to put one? I want to put one sort of out about here, so it comes out a little bit further. So we'll have a little one there. Let's put it in so that I'm doing it one at a time for a bit of balance. And we'll have him at that angle. And then we'll have this one out on about here. Whoops, that came out with a little bit of a bubble, didn't it? At least it's going back down in. And we'll put that one that way. And we'll have the last one, I think, down on here. Yeah, just about there, I reckon. I did put a little tiny blob right on there, but I think that's a little bit close, so we'll have it about there, I think. Again, it's entirely up to you. As I say, I try and give ideas, and then it's down to you how you decide to use those ideas. But I really liked just having something that was the same sort of tones running through, that made it quite pretty. So you've just got that sort of little piece coming through. Now we're going to mount it onto the Night of Navy. And again, I'm getting very lazy at the moment. I haven't cut anything out of this base. It's me saying my waste not, want not. And what have I done with this? I've got... I haven't put anything in on here, but let's put that in on here. Like that. And then I'm going to put this onto here. And sometimes I quite like a card being just in one particular tone. So these are just the blue tones that pick up with this paper. And I think it just works. The blue on the white just picks it up nicely. Get my head in so I can make sure I've got this straight. I always struggle under my lights, but that should be just about right. And take it round the corner. So we can then take that out like that. Now, if you wanted to just add a little bit of something to them, you could take the Wink of Stella and just add a little bit of sparkle to the butterflies. Now, I know that I can do this on here, but it won't actually come out because unfortunately, Wink of Stella doesn't really come out very well under the lights. It just looks as if I'm just sort of washing it, but trust me, it's starting to have quite a nice little sparkle on there. So I'm just going to take that down on those, and you can see how easy it is to just give just a little bit of wash on there like that. And then I don't know whether you can see, I will try and pick it up so you can see. Yes, you can see just on that top one that there's a little bit of sparkle. So you have a little bit of sparkle on there. So as I say, quite a pretty little card. Just using tiny weeny little bits of scrap and a bit of ribbon that makes a pretty card. So thank you so much for watching me. Thank you so much for all my new subscribers that are subscribing at the moment. I appreciate each and every one of you. And all the details will be below, and there's always a link to my blog where there'll be more details of this. So thank you so much for watching me. Do look forward to seeing you again. Bye bye.